Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Div5, round number 4 of Rush Racing League, the first 100% race of the season here in Div5. And boy, oh boy, if the prior races this week are anything to go by, this one is gonna be hectic. It's a long one, it's an endurance race, but I have a good feeling that our drivers are more than welcome to the challenge ahead. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus, and I'll be one of your hosts and commentators for the action this evening. And alongside of me is my main man, Cruz. How you doing tonight, mate?
Great. Albert Park, Australia. One of the best street circuits, in my opinion, on the Formula One circuit. 100%, 58 laps. I think almost 20 drivers, almost all 20 drivers on the grid tonight. This is going to be one heck of a race.
You said it there, Cruz. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and cruise our way right to the track. So here we go. We got our 19 drivers here, and the weather already looks kind of tricky here. So hey, we might see some weather here, which something we didn't see in Div 1, but we might see here tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers handle this, because this track is already a pretty tricky one in the dry, and then you throw in the wet, and it makes things so much more difficult. So also, if you have Chevy Wolves, do you mind throwing him an invite, because he did just get disconnected from the session. In the meanwhile, we'll just go ahead and wait to see who comes out on track first.
Indeed, we will. And I can see a Ferrari engineer standing outside of the pit box, and out comes a Ferrari. Don't know which one, but Ferrari.
That is Cooper.
Cooper coming out.
All right, and Cruz, if you don't mind, you can send an invite to Chevy Wolves, and in the meantime, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about some of the standings here in Div 5. Div 5 is going to be a very, very spectacular show. It's been a fun division to watch. It may be our lowest division, but the action is anything but low tier here in this division. It's always a lot of fun, a really good proving ground for drivers to really get to grips with league racing, or for some drivers who just kind of who don't want a lot of stress, because some of these higher divisions, like especially like your Div 2 in particular, can be pretty stressful at times. So it's a really amazing area for drivers to really kind of get the grips with things. Right now, taking a look at Div 5, it is Rise in the lead of the championship after a very commanding win in Suzuka last week. I mean, it was one of the most chaotic races when it comes to strategy, honestly. Strategy was such a wild card in that Div 5 race. And then you got the two sour boys of Naya and TMT going ahead and just waiting to see if they can reclaim that drivers championship lead. In the constructors, it is still Sauber on the top of the times tables, or on top of the constructors championship tables, and we'll see if they will remain there after tonight, because Mercedes, they do have a lot of momentum going in, and we'll see how the rest of this one goes. And also, were you able to get an invite out to Chevy Cruz?
Unfortunately not. I don't think I have him added.
Alright, so if, go ahead and, and Cobra too. So we have to get both of the, if you don't mind, what we'll do is put your EA in the Discord and tell them to add you so you can get them the invites. And then I'll keep on board with Cooper, as he is going to go ahead and maintain his flying lap. So we'll see how he sets the first banker lap of the evening. Gets a little bit into the grass coming out of turn 14 and 15. And now he's going to go into the two right-hand corners here, right at the end of the circuit. It's very tricky. If you go too wide here, too much momentum can put you straight into the gravel. And he's going to go ahead and hug all the corners. And he's going to give it his all here. Turn on the afterburners, and then he is going to be up into P1 with a 1:19.258. Going to go ahead and adjust the audio real quick for you guys by the request. All right. And there we go. It is an invalidation on the second turn, but Zephyr from the Williams squad will go ahead and jump up into P1 by 0.6 of a second on the dot. And that is going to be very, very interesting. And actually, I've just been informed that Naya has been promoted to Div4. So Cobra will take his place. So that's going to shake up the Drivers' Championship quite a bit, and we'll see. Because I mean, it is some pretty big shoes to fill for Cobra. We'll see if he can adjust to the division, and we'll see how he does here tonight. Any luck there, Cruz, on getting the invites?
I put my EA in the chat. Shiny Piastri's added him and invited him, I think.
Alright, we still got a good amount of time here in the qualifying session, so we'll hope to get those guys in before long. But you were talking about this track a little bit earlier as Uncle Morty now jumps to provisional pole with a 1:17.3. We talked about this track a little bit earlier. It is a very tricky track. It's a good street circuit. It's probably one of the best ones when it comes to battling, because I know typically one of the main critiques are that street circuits are kind of difficult to pass on, but this one does have quite a few good overtaking opportunities. So what are your feelings on this track, Cruz?
Yeah, obviously, as mentioned before, this is Albert Park in Melbourne. 3 DRS straights, 14 corners. The circuit opened up to Formula One in 1996. It's very, very fast. It's got a bumpy nature. It's high speed, and it's got a very flowing layout with high speed turns. It is a tricky, complicated, but very, very entertaining circuit.
That indeed, and then also weather can really go ahead and throw a curveball into the works on this circuit, so you really got to be careful. And this track really will punish your every single mistake. If you make a mistake, this track will certainly let you know about it. Some areas where you can really just carry a lot of momentum, and honestly too much momentum, and then you can just straight line into the gravel, into the grass, into the wall, especially through those last couple of corners. Through turns about 13 through 16, it's really difficult because you carry a lot of speed coming into those corners, particularly turn 14, and it is so easy to invalidate right there. And also through turns 1 and 2 as well, as you see Krojak making his way through in the Mercedes team of the week last week, but actually Rise has actually not here tonight, so his championship lead might be going back to the way of TMT legend Indak Kixalba, who is currently in P3, just about little under 0.4 of a second back from Uncle Morty in the Alpine. Krojak's now going to go ahead and fire things up. He's going to go ahead and turn on the DRS and ERS combination. It is a purple sector, so he's at least making personal improvements. And now he's going to go through this track. And the interesting thing about this track mechanically as well, you brought up the 3 different DRS zones. And the crazy thing about it is that in a lot of cases, it really just acts like 2 separate DRS zones. Because a lot of times, just because of the way the detection zones are placed on this track, you can, if you're coming down to start finish straight and coming to pole position like Krojak did, you can actually still get DRS in the second part of this DRS zone. So as long as you're still trailing before the DRS zone ends, there is a way where you can pass somebody in the first DRS zone on that start finish straight, and then the second DRS zone you can still have DRS even though you could even be leading the race and still get DRS, which is a pretty crazy thing. And the other ones is the same way right after turns 9 and 10, because the detection zone is all the way back at turn 6, so you can go ahead and if you go ahead and finish the DRS zone ahead of someone, you'll still get DRS in this part of the track that Connor is making his way through now. So Mexico also has a DRS zone like that. The first two DRS zones are pretty much function the same. So an interesting quirk that this track has here, Cruz.
Yeah, it's a real game changer. Like if that's on the second or third to last lap that you just get those DRS zones one after another, it can really change your finishing position, and it can be it can be a huge helping hand towards your race and your team's points in the constructors. And hey, that even could resolve in one or two positions in the constructors championship, and it really is just a major factor of the tracks like Australia and Mexico.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's a really interesting quirk, and that's the beauty of motorsports in general. Each track has its own different quirk, and when it comes to like sim racing, and that's just one thing I will always say that motorsport has above other sports, even if it is just sim racing, is that pretty much if you play football or what Americans call soccer, what is this also football, um, you can go to pretty much every single stadium, every single field, and the rules really stay the same, and this game itself typically does stay the same for the most part. You'll have your own few things here and there, like the crowd. It's really just a crowd that's really the big difference. But when it comes to racing, it's such a different ball game. Whenever you're on a different track, like one track will flow completely differently to the other. It's not like you can go to a Man United stadium or the Barcelona FC stadium and expect a completely different way of having to play the game versus F1 where you have to sometimes drive the cars completely differently on one track to another. So it's such a beautiful thing with motorsports. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how tonight goes, seeing how drivers adjust to this track. And it looks like it's cleared up quite nicely here with the weather. So the weather is looking pretty good at the moment. And also, have you been able to get Cobra in?
Not yet. He hasn't responded to my message.
Alright, so Cobra, if you're hearing this, be sure to add Cruz on EA, and then he will get you an invite so you can jump back into quali. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting here because weather is always such a factor when it comes to this track. I mean, I remember the real life Australian Grand Prix in 2025, and weather made that race absolutely chaotic.
Yeah, it definitely did. Like, as we saw with Oscar, unfortunately spinning out in his home Grand Prix, it, and all the rookies crashing, weather on a Formula One circuit can really change everything. Strategies, tyre compounds, obviously, because, well, who's going to be on a sleek compound tyre in the wet? It's a major game changer, and your race can go from sunshine and rainbows to crashing into the wall and at the back of the pack in a matter of no time.
Yeah, so I mean, you also really gotta adapt to the fly, or on the fly when it comes to racing as well, because I mean, things can drop pretty much on an instant. So you really gotta be kind of, and I mean, I know a lot of people who aren't into racing just say, well, you just gotta drive, and I mean, on the surface, yeah, but there's so much more to it. Like you gotta feel the car. You'll feel the car as you're racing through. Even if you're under control, you'll still have, granted not as much, but you'll still have a bit of a feel as to like how your car is feeling. You can feel when your car is slipping out. It's very reactionary, but you also kind of have to treat the car really as an extension of yourself. And I think a good part of the getting a good qualifying here is seeing who can really get that feeling the best and who can make it the most at this Albert Park circuit. So 5 minutes left to go here in qualifying, and then it is going to be our 58 lap race here. One qualifying session to rule them all is the name of the game here tonight. It is short quali, so one singular qualifying session to get everybody situated, and Milano actually getting a really good qualifying time here. with just 1/10 off of Krojag's time. So, and another thing too, as I'm learning about this as we come along, um, the interesting thing here is that it's really different for the drivers championship because two of the drivers in the top three were promoted to Div 4, being Rise and Naya. So TMT is still technically your de facto team or drivers championship leader at the moment. So, but he is only down in 7th at the moment. Krojak could really step it up and potentially at least put some good points on the board to try to go ahead and mix it up in the drivers championship here. So we'll just kind of see how everything plays out. I mean, it's not over till that checker flag waves, and we still have a lot of rounds left to go here. It is only round 4 of the championship. Krojak does have quite a ways away to try to catch up to TMT. Chevy Wolves really is the next best driver in terms of the current points that could really challenge. He's got 39 points compared to TMT's 56. So, I mean, it's definitely doable. It's still early enough in the championship where, I mean, every point is going to matter here. But it's not exactly going to be easy. And TMT is on a really strong run of form here at the moment, Cruz.
Yeah, he sure is. But I just want to pinpoint what you were saying before about how drivers getting promoted to other divisions. That can change the overall championship standings. Like if a driver in Div 5 is having one of the greatest seasons of his life and goes up to Div 4 and it's just lacking with the pace, it can completely change the overall Constructors' Championship. And as I was saying before, it can reduce or promote you a couple of positions in the overall standings. And yeah, it's just the matter of adapting to the new division. And Hen, I think it was Nice Shirt and Rice who got promoted up to Div 4. Can they handle the Div 4 pressure like they could in Div 5?
Yeah, it's always a bit of a challenge there, isn't it? Like you're trying to get up to a new division. And something worth noting too is that you got like you always have to adjust to everything, right? It's always adjusting when it comes to racing. So you got drivers who are trying to learn how other drivers drive because you're so familiar with, in their case, how these drivers drive. So, and also interesting rule breach of quality impeding has been noted by the onboard. So, ooh, that's probably gonna be a slam dunk penalty for somebody. I'm not sure exactly who that was for, but it has been noted. But yeah, I mean, down to the final 2 minutes, and everybody is on the outlap. Everybody is getting ready to absolutely send it here. And out of the drivers who are on an outlap here, Cruz, who do you want to go on board with?
I think, is Wolf on a lap?
Wolf he's about to be.
Hold on 1 second. I think he is on a lap. He's 2 tenths down, apparently.
Well, he's just started his flyer, and all right, over to you.
We're now coming down the long Albert Park straight, coming into the chicane with the DRS flicked on. DRS straight after DRS straight. Low battery, under 20% of battery here on this final DRS straight. Coming round the final few corners, the rear wing flips up and down, pushing the car, pushing the machinery to the limits with 13 seconds left on the clock. Woofer, can he improve? I didn't see his sector 2 time. Coming round the final corner now.
Okay, I think we actually... Yeah, so sorry, I think we actually were on board with the wrong driver. I thought you were talking about Chevy Wolves, not Woofa. That one's on me. But yeah, Woofa there is up in the P11, and timer is running out here at the moment. Yep, their names are similar, so give me a mulligan on that. But it's all good, Cruz. That one's on me. That's not even on you at this point. So we're gonna see how these drivers are gonna go ahead and finish up their quali. Chevy Wolves now is going to go ahead and make his way across the line. and he's up in a P3 for the Red Bull team. Now, TMT also improving massively, just under a tenth of a second away from pole position. And Uncle Morty in the Alpine jumps into provisional pole, just a tenth quicker than Krojak. Milano going to make his way to the line, and it is not an improvement from the V-Carb. And now it's going to be Soup making his way through. He will remain. He does not quite improve. What about Vrooms? He is up currently. Is he going to improve? He does not improve. He was up, and then he came straight back down. Connor making his way to the line. It is not an improvement there, and that is going to be qualifying done, dusted, and delivered. Uncle Morty, pole position.
Indeed, Uncle Morty in the Alpine taking pole position by just under a tenth of a second. I think 94 thousandths of a sec. 94 thousandths. Uncle Morty beats Krojak out for pole position. Then we have D White, TMT Legend, and Milano rounding up your top 5.
Yeah, that was actually that was a really good qualifying session there. But now, here's the thing. Qualifying is about getting that one singular lap in. But now, you got to go through 58 of them. So, we'll see how that consistency stands. And then, like you said, Uncle Morty takes pole position, followed by Krojak, The White, TMT Legend, Milano, Chevy Wolves, a.k.a. Woofa if you're me, apparently. And then, yeah, Paul and Hell, Super Duck, Dilby, Vroms, Woofa, Connor, Zephyr, Roll Me One Kenobi, Shining Swarm, Cooper, Yahuga, Risen, and Cobra, who did not set a lap time, and I don't think he actually ever got back into the session. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get ready for 58 laps here of Albert Park, the home track of Rush Racing League and Cruise. I know you've raced this track a few times. I don't know if you've done a 100% race here yet, but what would your strategy be for today's race?
I have not done a 100% race at Australia before. I have raced on a fair bit, though. Personally, I hate tyre wear at every track, so if it was me, I would be starting on the hard compounds, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, starting on a hard compound does give you a little bit of that flexibility when it comes to your strategy. It can really put you in a really good spot for trying to at least try to hold out. As a famous American song goes, holding out for a hero, and in this case, the hero would be the safety car, which is, it's very possible for a safety car to happen on this track. Turn 1 is a really tough corner to handle. But yeah, it really just depends on your driving style, because obviously you're going to have your engineer in your ear kind of telling you, like, hey, this is what the situation is at the moment, at least to the best of their ability. And they will also know about the weather too, because the weather is always going to be a big factor. So, especially if you know rain is imminent, or rain is going to hit at some point in the race, then starting on the hards could be a really good strategy, because you really, at that point, you don't even need to make a pit stop until that rain hits, and then you could just box for enders, while somebody on mediums might have already had to do a kind of a two-stop strategy. So, if you start on pole here, or if you start on a medium, then you probably locked into a two-stop. But here we go. We have those 5 red lights coming on, and going out is lights out, and away we go here at Albert Park. It is time for 58 laps here. We'll see who gets it done. Uncle Morty leading the pack, getting a very good launch here, and it's getting really mixy here in the midfield here, as drivers are all trying to jockey for a position in the opening laps here. And we're going to watch and see how these drivers get through the first couple of corners. It's pretty clean here so far. Looks like everybody's got their end played. As soon as I say that, Yahuga goes sent wide. And there is a lot of fight here between the Risen and Zephyr. Zephyr here is going to... Oh, and that's actually a good amount of wing damage there on the V-Carb Risen. So that is very rough stuff here to get your Australian Grand Prix started. He's going to pull into the pits and get that fixed, because he's going to be pretty much a sitting duck here at this point. So you're going to be in a really tough position, especially when you have so many quick cars behind. As we take a look at the starting compound here, pretty much a majority of the people are running the mediums to get things started. I just saw the Amazon race strategies there at the bottom of the screen, and I don't think anyone's going to run a 3-stop. I don't think anyone's going to do hard, medium, soft, but hey, I've seen crazier things before. But yeah, it looks like we did get through mostly clean. A lot of drivers starting on that medium compound, so they're going to be quick, pretty much straight out of the gate. But you do have some drivers trying to play the long game and go the distance, as Vroms is actually into the pits, so picking up some damage in the early stages of the Grand Prix here, Cruz.
Yeah, indeed. One thing I have noticed is around the top 5, they're spread out about 9 tenths of each other. Crojag, TMT, and Chevy Wolves. I was looking at Uncle Morty up the front. He was about 9.5 tenths ahead of D White. That gap is slowly closing, but yeah, lap 1 wasn't too chaotic, but it wasn't clean, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely very scrappy out there. You got a lot of drivers trying to fight for positions here early on. So the way that these 100% races do kind of tend to go, and this is how the Formula 1 races go, as well, is that they get really punchy at the start, and then they're really punchy for about the first quarter of the race, and then you really just kind of find your rhythm and then stay in that rhythm through the rest for like pretty much all the way up until like the final quarter of the race, really. So I mean, you really gotta trying to find your rhythm is such an important fact, especially on these 100% races. You got to keep your focus up too, because these races are twice as long as the usual Rush Racing League experience. So you really got to just dial in, and we saw it actually in Div1 earlier this week, where drivers started to kind of get tired. They started to lose a little bit of focus towards the end of the race. So you really just gotta just kind of dial in, or as the kids say nowadays, you just gotta lock in and get it done.
Yeah, as you were speaking before in Sector 3, Chevy Wolves lost his position to Connor, who's currently in P6. He was about a second behind, but he's closing that gap pretty quickly. He's about 5 tenths of a second behind him now. It was about 1.1, 1.2 a second ago, as Yahugo gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings already in a 100% race. That is not what you want.
Yeah, that is probably the understatement of the week there, Cruz. You definitely do not want penalties at this stage, because it's a momentum sport. And look at Connor going deep, and Connor's in the wall. He sent it a bit too deep. You flew too close to the sun there, Icarus, and into the wall he goes. A massive front wing damage on that Mercedes, and now he's going to be holding up Woofa and Dilby there. So yeah, he's got to come into the pits. I mean, you got to give him an A for effort, but it just did not pay off there. A bit of a dramatic start here. I mean, you said it earlier, pretty much straight to the point. It wasn't a very clean start for some of these guys. As Cooper now joins the penalty club, he's got 3 seconds for track limit violations. So, man, some drivers really getting a rough start here, and we're only on lap 4. You still got 54 more laps to go. So, if you're getting penalties at this stage, oh boy, you're in for a long night. As these drivers make their way through the rest of Sector 1, jumping into Sector 2. Now, Dwight he's really close to the back of Uncle Morty right here. And this is going to be absolutely fantastic battling we're going to see here. Uncle Morty puts that car in a really good defensive position. Dwight kind of waiting, because he's got the mindset that you and I were talking about earlier here, Cruz, where it's a 58 lap race, so you don't really need to do anything overly risky on lap 4.
Overtakes from Chevy Wolves and Yahuga while you were commentating, as now D White a 10th behind with a DRS on the Walker Straight. He takes P1. He takes the number 1 position of the race with a yellow flag in Sector 3. I don't know what that's for, as I think it's Yahuga falling down places. He spun. Yahuga spun out, and Cooper's got a 3-second time penalty. Into the pits he goes, Yahuga. Not the greatest of starts for the Australian Grand Prix for him.
Yeah, I think Connor also might have had a moment there too, Cruz. So it's a bit of a rough one here for some of these guys here. I mean, it like we talked about it earlier, and what am I seeing here? Hang on. Williams, I have questions. Williams, Dito, you're a fantastic TP, and I'm sure Nishka's probably the one engineering this. Softs at this stage of the race. Quite the bold strategy call. Oh, and he's already off, so it's already a tough one for Yahuga. He already went deep, just coming out of turns 1 and 2. Oh, I keep forgetting that Nishka, I think, switched teams, but yeah, I don't know who's engineering, although that was probably a misclick. I reminds me of the 100% race we had in Jeddah at the beginning of last season. Actually, it was the season opener where I saw a Ferrari go on just full wets on the dry track, which is probably the most Ferrari thing you'll ever see in esports. But questionable strategy calls aren't exactly new, and misclicks certainly aren't new either.
Yeah, they indeed aren't. It was a bit of a slow stop there for Yahuga, it looks like, on my screen. But anyway, he's 3 seconds behind the Ryzen in P18 with a 3-second penalty. So if he wants to even gain one position tonight, he has to gain 6 seconds on the car in front to say he's P18 in the Grand Prix. But hey, it is a 100% race. He does have time, and he is slowly but surely making his way closer and closer to the back of the V car. But yeah, he has all day. It's not anywhere near the end of the race. It's not anywhere near the time to start pushing the car to the limits. The Super Duck makes a move on Chevy, but yeah, he still does have plenty of time left in this Australian Grand Prix.
Exactly there, Cruz. You are 100% right on that point. He's got time, and I mean, anything can happen in these 100% races. I mean, even in the normal, like, 50% races that Rush does, you can really expect anything to happen. I mean, it really just takes one person sending it a bit too hard and ending up in the wall to cause a safety car, or sending it to another driver to cause a safety car. Safety cars can just kind of happen out of thin air, so you really got to be careful. And, I mean, you really just got to be attentive. You really just got to pay attention. That's really the biggest thing here, is just kind of keeping alert, relying on that engineer, or if you don't have an engineer, just kind of relying on your instinct. And especially when it comes to Formula One, it's such a data-driven sport. And honestly, you could put this for almost any facet of racing. Really is such an information-heavy sport that you always gotta know. Oh, speak of the devil, safety car has spawned. I'm not sure what it caused the safety car. Risen maybe? I don't know, actually.
I do not have a clue. That was the most randomest safety car I've probably ever seen on this game. And a drive-through penalty for Connor. Okay. I think Connor's the one who caused this safety car deliberately. He was just in the middle of the track, stuck, or well, not really stuck, but like going very slow in the middle of the track. It might not have been him, but it sure did look like some sort of mischief. I can't speak today.
Welcome to the club.
It sure did look something mischief back there with Connor. I don't quite know what was the reason this safety car was caused, but anyway, safety car, lap 8.
Welcome to the club, Cruz. English may be our first language, but boy, can we not speak it sometimes. That's almost like a commentator rite of passage, actually. So hey, you're starting young. That's the important thing. But yeah, we were literally just talking about how a safety car can effectively spawn out of thin air, and sure enough, neither one of us really have a clue of why this particular safety car was called. But yeah, it's safety car has been called. We'll take a look at tires once again. Some drivers are opting to pit in. Yeah, Yahuga getting off of those soft tires is probably a pretty good call there. I don't think those tires would have really gone you too far in the race. You might have been able to get about 10 or so laps off of those soft tires. at most, because I know the tire wear does kind of skew depending on the race duration, so the tires do tend to last a little bit longer for these 100% races, but not by much. So that's why this track is probably by default almost always going to be a two-stop. But yeah, safety car is going to be around till probably at least around lap 10. We may be racing on either lap 10 or lap 11 is probably when we're going to go ahead and get back to green flag racing action. We will go around again. But yeah, safety car, first one of the night. Hopefully the last one of the night, but I don't know, man. That just... Because typically we can find out pretty quickly like what happened, or at least kind of put some puzzle pieces together to kind of get a better view of the picture, but I genuinely have no idea what caused that safety car. Could have been Connor, especially if he did get spun around there, but your guess is as good as mine, man.
Yeah, I genuinely do not have a clue how that safety car came out. But oh well, it is our quick breather break and toilet break. If you have to go to the toilet, hurry up, ladies and gentlemen, because let's just have a breather. The first 7-8 laps of this race have been absolutely chaotic, and maybe not to that level of chaotic, but we want to see some more action. Hopefully, no more safety cars, because I do not know at all what in the world the reason of that safety car coming out was, but I'm sure it will not take the FIA long at all to figure out what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, curious to see what happens. Yeah, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just echo this as we're about to go ahead and get going. If you're watching this on your phone, take your phone with you, go ahead and get some water, get hydrated. Be sure to stay hydrated. I know it's not particularly summer anymore, but hydration is still very important. These cars need to have the top of the line fuel. They need to be properly fueled to get the most performance, especially on a safety car restart like this. And a severe collision for Risen with Cooper, giving him a penalty. That's a pretty rough one on the safety car. But here we go. We're going to get racing here. Back again on lap 10 out of 58. And now it is time to see how the restart is going to fare. And it looks like it is a very clean restart. Milano getting a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. And that is a very rough start here. Dwight getting away very nicely here as Krojak and Kenobi go at swap positions. They go side by side. Coming through turns 3 and 4. Going through another chicane, and Kenobi's a bit wide. He is trying to make things happen. The Jedi mind tricks do not work on a Formula 1 car, unfortunately. And now he's almost about to get passed by Vrams there in the Scarlet Ferrari. Vrams is particularly punchy here at this stage, and he's just going to go ahead and fire on in before the DRS zone even hits. And he's going to go and make his way through. Going to go ahead and get the DRS too, I think. I think he was within detection range, but it's not going to happen this time around because the DRS is not active on this lap. It'll be active once Dwight crosses the line to start lap number 11 out of 58. So overall, a pretty clean restart. And the battle here between Uncle Morty and Dwight is kicking off strong here.
You go down the Walker Straight, you're getting a 3-second time penalty. Uncle Morty going round Dwight. He takes P1, going into the same spot. Safety.
That's not a safety car. It is still bugged. But look at this. Dwight is now getting. He lost one position to an Alpine. He'll lose another to an Alpine. It is an Alpine 1-2 at the moment. Soup for Duck and Uncle Morty absolutely just sending it. And Kenobi is out. He is retired in the pits. That will not bring out another safety car. It does say safety car, but it is just an unfortunate bug that's been around since, like, what, F1 23? I think this bug has been a thing for online racing. But it is not a safety car. Fret not. We are still in green flag conditions. And Dwight is just, he is tumbling down this order. What has happened here? He still got all of his, he still has everything. So, and oh, he's getting shoved here. Literally by Paul, and oh, just ran straight into the back there by Milano. He is a sitting duck. I have no idea what's happening to Dwight here, but he is dropping like a stone through this field. And he was P1 at the start of this lap, and at the end of it, he's down to P7. He has actually been disconnected from the session, so Cruz, if you can get him back in with an invite, that would be absolutely fantastic. And meanwhile, I'll go ahead and keep us updated on this battle right here. Dilby now looking as now Woofa gets past Dwight, who is in AI mode at the moment. And and getting caught up there, Crowjack gets a freebie. 2 for the price of 1. Making his way down, and the AI of Dwight is going to make things even more difficult. Now in Div 1, that was a massive issue that some of the drivers ran into. When Jono had his AI take over for the first couple of laps, his AI caused a little bit of carnage on this track. Are we going to see the same thing here with Dwight? That is going to be the question at hand. And Kenobi was having wheel issues, so that's what resulted in him retiring from the Grand Prix. So unfortunate there, but I mean, if you're having wheel issues, that probably was the right call to make. So very unfortunate, but best of luck for him next week when he comes back. Hopefully that does get resolved. Having hardware issues is not fun. I remember, I think it was back in maybe season 6, maybe 7, that there was a championship that was decided because somebody's wheel disconnected and his Aston Martin spun around. It is Paulin spun around, and drama here on lap 12, but no safety car this time around. Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. Oh, buddy me.
I think that will be a penalty for an unsafe rejoin from Paul. Oh, yep, 10-second time penalty. And he might even get worse from the stewards. Double red front wing, double no front wing for both the Aston Martin and the Kicksauber. And I apologise for the false safety car alert before, but I think there actually is one now because I just saw it on the track.
There's definitely one now. If there wasn't one on track, that's a retirement on track, which that's a penalty right there in itself. So a retirement on track for Cobra. The first time racing here in Div 5 tonight, reserving in as Naya got promoted. And yeah, there is a safety car on track this time, and whew, I got probably one of the best camera angles for that one. Unsafe rejoin. Yep, that one's definitely gonna be a slam dunk right there. So that is rough.
That is indeed rough. Just what we wanted, a non-safety car. Yay! Just what we wanted. I unfortunately couldn't get that invite out. I don't have him added, and I don't believe you can add people while in a online race. But yeah, non-safety car. What a exciting
It is tricky,
moment.
but I can actually try to grab him real quick while we're under safety car. See if I know I have him in here. I've invited him before, and Kenobi is left, so that's not ideal. I'll try to go to get Dwight in at the moment, and meanwhile, I'll let you go ahead and keep us informed of what's going on track at the moment.
Yeah, of course, as mentioned multiple times before, it is a safety car. Your top 5, Super Duck, TMT, Chevy Wolves, Milano with the 3-second time penalty, Crowjag. And Crowjag rounds up your top 5 currently on lap 14 and 58 of the Rush Racing Round 4 Div 5 Australian Grand Prix. The second safety car tonight, out, and it's not even halfway through the race.
So there is a fun fact. Sorry for cutting you off there, but there is a fun fact. There is a limit of 4 safety cars that can spawn in a race in F1 25. After that point, it does become a full course caution, better known as a virtual safety car. So it's basically like a full course yellow in, say, NASCAR or endurance racing. But the difficult thing about those is that Because typically when you have a safety car like we have right now, it's very clear when that safety car is going to end because you're going to see that car pull into the pits. However, when it comes to the VSC, on the other hand, that could go green at any particular moment. So it could really catch some people napping, and usually results in one or two drivers getting a very unfortunate pen, which I think sometimes does actually get removed by the stewards. And oh, Winter is actually a steward here for Div5. So, oh, buddy. If I wasn't here in the States, I would buy you some Red Bull so you can go ahead and make it through the night because you got a long night ahead of you, mate. So, while we got this, actually, I'm going to bring up story time. It was back when we had Div6, when we had enough drivers for 6 divisions. Div6, Jeddah, first round of the season, 100% race. It took, I think it was Vettel and Lamb, XD Lamb. They were the stewards for that race. It took them 2 hours plus to actually get through all the incident reports. And I have the screenshot somewhere. But one of the stewards said, "Hey guys, can we try to keep it a bit cleaner for next race? It took us 2 hours to get through the incident reports." And the immediate next message in that Discord chat was, "It's Monaco next week." And I swear, whoever that steward was, I want to say it was Vettel, but I could just see like the life leaving his eyes after seeing that. Luckily, we don't have that this time around. We do have Monaco and Jeddah on the calendar later on this season, as the safety car is coming in this lap. So we're going to go ahead and get ready for racing here very, very soon. And Super Duck will be leading us to green here. And Cruz, I'll let you take the restart away.
Okay, I will gladly take the restart. Super Duck in pole position. He will be setting the pace of the other 16 drivers due to the 2 DNFs. And we will cover in once again in Australia, Melbourne, Albert Park. I think the Williams just overtook the Ferrari before the line, but let's have the Ferrari.
Oh, actually, the Ferrari's dropping.
Box. There'll be 3-second time penalty. Once again, it's still early. 16 laps in to an 100% race. It is still early. 3-second time penalty will not help at all, especially considering we just had a full course safety car.
Yeah, and Zephyr now joining the club too. He's also got pens as well. Yahuga falling down the order. What is happening? Oh, he's racing the wrong direction. I mean, when it comes to racing, you really only want to go one direction, and that is not that direction. So he goes off into the gravel. Like, he went deep off of turn 3, I think. So a rough start here for Cooper and Yahuga. Not having a great time of things here tonight, as the Risen now, who's also had a bit of a rough night as well, gets passed up there by Paulin. But here's the thing that I'm actually kind of curious about, is that taking a look at the tires, we still have our tire data on screen at the moment. But yeah, Soup, actually really the top 4, Soup, TMT, Chevy, and Milano have not pitted in yet. And there's been 2 safety cars. So DRS is now back enabled in this race. Super Duck making his way, trying to run away from TMT, who will still be leading. Well, he'll be actually officially leading the Drivers' Championship if this race finishes as it is right now. But Soup is having a really strong race here. Let's take a look at some positional changes here. Soup is up 7 positions from where he was at the start. So a very strong drive here from the Alpine, and we'll see if TMT can really start trying to shake things up. He himself is up 2 positions, Chevy up 3, and Milano up 1. So it looks like Chevy now trying to look for any kind of gap here. He is going to try to fire it up and get ready, try to use those wings that Red Bull gives you, and try to fly on past, but that is not going to happen this time around. Chevy is still going to tuck right on in, but oh, getting a little snappy over the curbs for Milano and Crow Dragon. Speaking of a Mercedes, Connor gets a penalty, but look at the send attempt here And Milano actually tries to send it, but he also goes deep. He is off into the gravel. He is safe. It will be a temporary yellow, but that will pretty much end as a temporary yellow. And that, I mean, that car already has a bit of a messy appearance with the graffiti, but now that thing looks even more messy after that lawn mowing excursion that Milano just went on. We've seen a few drivers tonight go a bit too deep there in the final few corner screws.
Yeah, we sure have. There's now we got a full-card DRS train up the back. Oh, and the Red Bull locking up with Chevy wheels. That was very scary for a moment. I apologise for that. But yeah, we have seen a couple of drivers struggle at the final few corners. And personally, I do that too myself. Not trying to rant on about myself, but my mates know that second last corner is the cruise corner because I have an obsession of always spinning out at that corner. I always do it. Always do it at this circuit. As I apologise for ranting on about myself, as now TMT goes round the outside of Super Duck and takes the lead of the Grand Prix, with Uncle Morty getting past the Ferrari for P7.
That is a very, very good pass there from TMT. And look at this, Chevy's getting a little punchy here, trying to howl his way up, and oh, another car going deep there. Ooh. I think we're gonna have to rename that from the cruise corner to the Div5 corner because we've seen several drivers absolutely just send it past that corner there tonight. So it's a very tricky braking zone too. Those two corners in particular are really, really tough. Just because you carry so much momentum into both of those corners. I mean, you got turn 15 pretty much straight after it's turn 15 straight after a DRS zone. So you're already carrying so much speed into that corner. That's a bit of a tough one to navigate. And then the corner after, you're carrying a good amount of momentum as well. And they're both practically 90-degree corners just about. So with that being said, it's really easy to lock out your brakes or just carry a bit too much momentum and then just slide it out. So we'll just kind of have to see how the rest of this one plays out. And I'm also hearing that Krojag might actually have a bit of front wing damage, so we'll see. And yeah, he's missing that left end plate, so that's a bit of a tough one there for Krojag, and it's gonna really mess him up, especially through turns 9 and 10, or yeah, 9 and 10, or no, that's 10 and or 11 and 12, through turns 11 and 12, through that really quick chicane, and that is knocking up his case.
I apologise for cutting you off. I saw Chevy and Soup side by side going through the final couple of corners. I thought that was something. I do apologise for cutting you off there.
We saw the action. You saw the action. You called it. All good here, mate. As now Cooper gets more penalties. Let's take a look at the penalties here for a moment. So Cooper's got 9. He's not going to be happy about that. Yahuga's got 6. And then Connor, Zephyr, Dilby, and Milano all have 3 as Uncle Morty gets right past. He's on fresher tires at this stage of the Grand Prix on lap 20 out of 58. So, that pass is probably going to be as easy as you'd like it there. For Uncle Morty, he is going to go ahead and try to do what he can to try to close in the gap to some of the other drivers. A little bit behind there, Dwight, who was leading the race at one point, did try to make a move onto Milano. And we will see if Dwight can go ahead and make this move past. And yeah, this is going to be a bit of a tricky one, as now Dwight is going to keep that gap really, really close as they make their way through this rapid chicane. And he's going to go ahead and have DRS again, but it's a pretty short DRS zone, so really it's just something to kind of minimize that gap. And then maybe try to get a good setup to retake on that start-finish straight. As now with TMT in the lead of the Grand Prix, he is going to have Chevy Wolves behind. And we'll see if Chevy can go ahead and tune up the band, tune up that Red Bull, and closing the gap. There's another yellow. I'm not sure what caused that. Oh, there's a car spun around in the back, I think. Am I tripping? I might be tripping. Oh, never mind. There is about to be one. Bit of contact here there with the Williams of Zephyr.
That was very scary. I thought he was about to go bowling at almost every car that was around him there. He made massive contact with the car next to him. I see smoke ahead of the car I was spectating. I don't know what happened there, but more yellow flags flying throughout Sector 1. As flying down the order goes Dilby, who went off the track, and he's down into P15.
That is unfortunate, to say the least. And yeah, he's got significant wing damage there. He's got to go ahead and get that fixed. And now Woofa gets past Shining Swarm here. The DRS makes things very easy. Shining Swarm, effectively a sitting duck there in that corner just because he didn't have the DRS. And Woofa actually making 2 moves in that DRS zone, so Woofa's on the charge. Zephyr is going to go ahead and get passed up by Shining now, so Shining Swarm is going to go ahead and make his way on through. He's going to lose a position, then gain another one. And Woofa is now really just trying to... I mean, he is on a massive charger. What tire is he on is the question. He's on 7-lap old hard tires, so some of the freshest tires on the field right now. So he is really making really good progress here, trying to climb back up the order. He's going to look to take on a Ferrari next. Not quite enough real estate there to get the move done onto Brahms. But yeah, he's looking very punchy here at this stage. He's got DRS once again. Going to maybe try to think of lining up the Ferrari. Dwight now gets a 3-second time penalty. He will join the penalty club as Zephyr and Dilby make their way into the pits to go ahead and get those front wings swapped out and replaced. And now we'll see here up at the front, Chevy in the lead of the Grand Prix. Gonna get immediately retaken there by TMT, and a bit of caution here. Not sure what that was about. Maybe he's ever going a bit wide, but it is still going to be a neck and neck battling. And we were talking about that DRS zone a bit earlier on here, Cruz. TMT getting a little bit of extra DRS help, even though he is in the lead of the Grand Prix, just because of the way that the DRS zones work here in Sector 2 and 3. So already in a pretty good spot, but once again, still not quite halfway through the race. Soon to be though, but not quite halfway through as we're starting lap 23 out of 58 as there's another yellow. So I think that's just, I don't know who that is at this point. That might be Risen going a bit wide, or Dilby maybe going a bit wide. Not too sure at this point, but it is now a 3-way DRS train, actually a 4-way DRS train for P1 here, Cruz.
Yeah, 4 cars all within a second, or 5/10 of a second, with each other. I was looking at Chevy Wolves and TMT's battle before. Even though he does get that double DRS straight up, one after another, it does come right back at him with turn 1, turn 2, and then that short little DRS straight there, which, hey, if someone's feeling it, a dive bomb could work out through that corner. But Crowjag and Uncle Morty looking almost side by side through that straight with each other. It's a 3-second penalty for Crowjag.
I saw that from Uncle Morty's POV, and Uncle Morty just going to go and lick the step and send it on in. He's sent that like sending a risky text to your crush, and he gets it done. Success there this time round. We'll see how he can fare going against Chevy and TMT. And, well, he'll get past one because Chevy is going to be the first one of the front 3 to go ahead and make that pit stop. They were on those aging tires, and, oh, you can see the front tires just locking up as Chevy makes his way into the pits. Swapping out the tires, getting on the hards, and then he may try to take this to the end. It's going to be difficult there because you still got about another, got about another 30-some laps, I think. About 34 laps to try to get on this hard compound. So it's doable, but he's probably going to switch to another set of hards about probably halfway through that stint. So he comes down to P11, but he does have a pretty good gap. So that clean air does make a massive difference, especially when you're on fresh tires. As now Uncle Morty is going to try to reclaim the lead of this Grand Prix. And he's going to try to get past TMT, who is also on aging medium tires. Uncle Morty on fresher hards at this stage. And we'll see if Uncle Morty can get things done, dusted, and delivered here. He's going to line up the move, lining it up. And does he get it? It's going to be close. A slight bit of wheel-to-wheel bumping there. Just a little boop on the tire. And he's going to not get that position. But I think he will get it here. Because I think TMT he's staying out. I thought TMT was actually going to roll on into the pits there. as Uncle Morty is going to continue down the straight. And he is going to go ahead and get the move done. That's as easy as you like it here. He had the DRS, he had the better tires, and he was already pretty close. But the curious thing is here, Cruz, what is Krojak going to do? How is he going to affect this dynamic between TMT and Morty?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a bit of a disadvantage for him with his 3-second time penalty. If I was Krojak myself, I'd be looking to make a move as soon as possible, because that 3-second penalty is not his best friend. Is at the back, I'm not trying to draw away from the current situation, but Chevy Wolves on those new tyres have just gone past Shining Swarm, also known as Shining Piastri. As we look back to the front three, TMT within 3/10 of Uncle Morty, but yeah, Krojak, he just needs to start reeling the top two in. And as soon as he gets into that range where he can, well, at the moment, he doesn't have any battery to possibly try and make a move at TMT. But as soon as he gets within that, 5/10 range where he can just attack and have a go at TMT, then if I was him, I'd be trying to do it, well, almost now, if he wants to have a shot at gaining positions or even staying where he is with that penalty in this race.
Exactly. It's going to be a bit easier said than done, though, because he is missing that end plate on the left side of his front wing, so that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. I mean, he's still keeping pretty close despite that, so, I mean, the pace is definitely there for Kojak, but when you're missing an end plate, it does get difficult to really try to navigate through the circuit, especially in the dirty air. You have a little less downforce, one less element of the car slicing through the air like a hot knife through butter, as these front wings are designed to do. So Connor now his teammate getting another 3-second time pen. So we have 8 drivers currently with penalties as this field is starting to spread out. I think for the most part, I mean, unless your name is Milano trying to get past here around the outside, we've kind of hit that sort of chill. Ooh, that was definitely contact. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel banging there between Milano and Connor, but now Milano's about to lose a spot here to Dwight, and Dwight is going to go ahead and get on past, trying to make a bit of a recovery drive and a bit more contact between Milano and Dwight this time around. These guys are going to continue to absolutely give it their all. I mean, they're trying to make the most of this 100% race. Oh, you were talking about that 3-second penalty not being your friend. That 10-second penalty is killer. Speeding in the pit lane for TMT. Milano also getting that exact same penalty. So, I mean, I think at this point, I think these guys are definitely on a 2-stop. So next time those two come into the pits, then you got to wait 10 seconds before your tires can even get swapped out. So you're just going to lose so much time on that stop. That is really a rough one there for those guys. You hate to see it, but I mean, particularly in F1 25, that does tend to grab a lot of people. What has happened here? The 2 V-carbs potentially getting into it. There's a very slow moving V-carb there. It is the V-carb of Milano having a bit of a rough go of things here. Yeah, Alpine is having a relatively strong week. I know Soup recently pit in, and we'll check tires real quick. He is on those brand new hard tires at the moment. Soup is already going to get past Shining Swarm here, as he's going to look at Vroms to try to overtake him. Vroms on those 25-lap-old hard compound tires. He's going to probably stay out a bit longer, but look at this. Soup is getting punchy, and Soup, I mean, he's going for it, and he's got it. That is very nicely done there from the Alpine. Shining Swarm also potentially looking on the move against the Ferrari with aging tires. And actually, Vroms is into the pits, I think. Yes, he is into the pits. So he's going to swap out those tires that he's had since almost the beginning of the race. He did pit pretty early on due to some damage, but he is now going to go ahead and come into the pits. Woofa now trying to chase down Dwight, and Dwight's actually a very, very strong recovery drive here. He had his moment with the AI, but now he is currently back up into the top 5. And if you remember from Div1 for those of you who did watch that. If you haven't, then I'd suggest watching it back on our YouTube channel. The Jono actually had AI, and he dropped down to, I think it was like P18 or something, and still came back to win the race. So, I mean, the comebacks are real here, especially when you have these 100% races here, Cruz.
Yeah, I think the 100% race definitely plays a big factor in, well, as I have mentioned before with standings and constructors, like that can be one or two positions that you gain or lose because some people can't just, well, I can't either, just can't find a way to manage their tyres for a certain amount of time, and then you lose time. You start to drive more sloppier, as like we've seen with the people getting 10-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane. I'm not trying to point fingers at people and say that they're not doing enough, but it's like with these 100% races, you can start to lose concentration, and it can be very, very crucial.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's just part of just how these 100% races are. I mean, they're considered endurance races here by esports standards. So yeah, it's difficult too, because unlike in some forms of endurance racing, you know, you think of iRacing typically or Le Mans Ultimate, where you do have those like 6 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour, 24 hour, 48 hour. Actually, I don't know if there is a 48 hour. That'd be pretty crazy though, but you get the idea. I mean, just you have these super long races, and typically you have drivers that can tag out like every like say like 2 hours or so. A driver tags out, brings another one in, driver swap, they're ready to race. But when it comes to F1 and these races here, you don't have a driver swap. I mean, if you do, then I'd be pretty impressed. Although I'm pretty sure swapping drivers mid races. Well, actually, I don't think there is a rule against it. Although it's not typically advised, but because you in game you really can't do it. But I mean, if somebody in your like house, apartment, college dorm, whatever, jumps into your seat, I'm not sure there's particularly a rule against that. I don't think it's ever really come up as a point of contention now that I'm thinking about it. But back onto the actual topic at hand here. These drivers don't have another driver that basically tag out with, so you're pretty much just in this from start to finish. As now the two Mercedes drivers will go ahead and work together. Shining Swarm now taking a look and trying to maybe see if he can catch one of these guys, but they're both on pretty much brand spanking new tires. Krojak on brand new mediums and Connor on 1 lap old hards compared to Shining Swarm, who's on those 18 lap old hard tires as Chevy Wolves and Woofa trade battles or trade positions up here at the front. TMT on fresh tires, and oh, there is a yellow, and that is for Dilby, I think. Yeah, I think Dilby just went a bit deep there. But so far, the battles are heating up. Woofa now, who has been on a mega drive here today, at least it feels like it. It always feels like he's right up somebody's gearbox. He is already, even though he is on 13 lap older tires compared to TMT, he is still pretty much making TMT kind of drive in his mirrors and making him sweat a bit, probably.
Yeah, I reckon he indeed is. Sorry for the inconvenience. I just had someone calling me for some reason. But yeah, TMT with that 10-second penalty, he'd be sweating even more seeing the Woofer's Aston Martin in his mirrors while he's side by side with Dwight. Well, he was Dwight getting the position or keeping the position. Yeah, he would be sweating even more knowing that the 10-second penalty is there, and Woofer doesn't even have to do anything as now TNT takes the position off Dwight. Woofer doesn't even have to do anything. All he has to do is just stay in the mirrors of Dwight and TNT, and he will claim their positions if it does end like this. But hey, there is still ages left in this Grand Prix. It doesn't feel like it, but there is.
There is and there isn't at the same time. I mean, for some drivers it's going to feel like it's just like, you know, when you're at school, right, or college or work, whichever category you fall in there, you always like, sometimes you find yourself just kind of looking at the clock, or in this case the lap counter, like, oh my lord, this is never going to end. And then other times you blink and you're like, Is that 50? So, I mean, it's really kind of a give or take, really just depending on your perspective. I mean, if you get 3-second time penalties like Brahms does, then you are really just going to kind of fall into that category of like, oh my, this race is just not going to end. But, I mean, it does help when you do have somebody that you're actively trying to chase down here, like TMT does with Chevy. Gonna go ahead and try to chase him down here. He's on 3-lap older tires compared to the Sauber behind, but we know that Chevy and TMT both have some really good pace. They are effectively 1 and 2 in the championship at the moment because the current top 2 are now in Div4. And with this DRS zone, he's really going to go ahead and close in the gap here to about 0.3 of a second, 0.4 of a second, about half a second now. But he's going to get it again. Another bit of DRS making his way down the straight. Going to be hard on the brakes, trying not to send it too deep like drivers have previously in this one. Very nicely done. And he's going to roll on through. I mean, pretty much his main goal now is just to try to prevent any other penalties from coming, because if he does make another stop, he's got to wait 10 seconds before a tire change, so that's effective. Like, you're losing about 30 seconds. Then you got and then you got Dwight, who does have penalties himself as we take a look at those. But I mean, as long as if TMT stays within 7 seconds of Dwight, then he is gonna lose that spot. But I think Dwight's got more pressing matters at hand, as Wooford, actually, I think he was a bit late on the brakes there into the corner because he was pretty much right behind him. Although, granted, dirty air is a massive factor with these ground effect cars. Shouldn't be as much of an issue theoretically with the 2026 regs, but there was a yellow.
I think someone spun. I don't know who.
Might be Milano.
It looked like a blue car on the mini-map in my bottom right corner. It was a blue car that was going very slowly. I didn't quite catch what car it was. It might have been Milano, but yeah, it could have been. But yeah, I think someone has spun as Woofer gets past the wire.
Yeah, I think it was Milano there. Yeah, I mean, the V-Carb team isn't really having the greatest of nights here as it sits. So it's definitely not ideal for their points tally. And TMT is going to get the fastest lap of the race so far. That'll be an extra point to him if he can keep it. As now he is going to continue to speed on through this Albert Park circuit. But now we're pretty much at the point now where everybody's really just trying to kind of switching from aggression to management is going to be the name of the game right now, as Krojak is trying to hunt down Soup, who was having a very super race earlier on, but right now is currently sitting in about P7. He's got to make up a few seconds though if he wants to overtake Dwight, because Dwight does have the 3-second pen, but I mean, if he stays close enough to Woofa to continue to get DRS range while Soup doesn't, then that's going to make that task extremely difficult for him. But I mean, hey, we have seen crazier things even in just today's events. So I mean, another safety car could really bunch this pack back up, and I know you and I both kind of think it every time we see that yellow, as Krojak fires on past Soup, and he could get up another position, but he's got to break that 3-second gap to really try to make any real position of that, as Connor tries to make Soup's life a bit trickier, and a bit of a snap there, maybe a little bit of contact even between Soup and Connor. Coming out of Stewart Corner, turn 14 on the circuit. And I mean, it really just takes one slight thing, one wrong move, one little bit of touching grass to really just pretty much shake up the entire dynamic of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, 100%. As we saw with the Aston Martin, I think it was the Williams or a Sauber that ran into one another. As another yellow flag. A yellow flag's been my nightmare tonight. I don't think it's major though, is it?
No, it's not. It's just Sever running off track a bit.
Yeah, the yellow flag's been an absolute nightmare tonight. Every time I see it, it's just been every time I see that yellow colour flash from my TV, I'm thinking, is it a safety car? Because we've seen it all tonight. We've been 35 laps into this Grand Prix, and we sure have seen it all. It hasn't been one of the most jam-packed entertainment races, but it has been a very entertaining one.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like some of the drivers are also kind of thinking the same thing too. They just see the yellow, the yellow, and they're like, crap. But then they're like, okay, good. It's a fake, or it's just something small. Because I mean, some of them at this point, they're some drivers actually would want a safety car at this point because it would give them a cheaper way to serve their pens. Particularly, I would say TMT would be the biggest benefactor of a safety car right now because he could serve that 10-second pit stop penalty and then just really just get right into it from there. So he could really just make magic happen if he can get that safety car. But I think everybody is so far spread out now for the most part. I mean, you got some close battles like TMT and Chevy, Milano and Yahuga, Connor and Soup, Krojak and Dwight. So there's actually quite a few battles in various parts of the circuit. But Uncle Morty, he has decided that he doesn't want to be involved in any battles at the moment, and he's just checked out. He is currently P1, coming up to a lapped V-carb that's going to let him on by with no real issue. And I wonder... Okay, so it didn't give him DRS, because I know it has happened before, and oh, that is a yellow flag, and that's a Williams facing in the wrong direction. Whew! Oh, and he gets hit by Risen! Oh, and now that's a safety car, because wow! I mean,
Another one!
yeah, Yahuga,
Second for Yahuga. And now the Risen's retired from the Grand Prix. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Another safety car. 3 safety cars in 36 laps. I'll tell you what.
It's funny because I'm watching from Yahuga. And, oh, Yahuga's out too because he got DQ'd for being parked in a dangerous location. And that's the rough part about that track is that it's if you get caught there, then you are in a bad spot because you really don't have a whole lot of room to really go. And then, I mean, that's probably also going to get pinged for a unsafe rejoin there. So, whew, that is... Ah, boy, that is just not what you want to see here. It's what TMT wants to see, though, because that's a free pit stop for him, and he can just rejoin, get that pen removed, and then just kind of go from there. But, or, yeah, I don't know what TMT, because TMT is kind of in a weird spot. He's cooked if he is, and cooked if he is, it doesn't. Because if TMT pits, he'll get Dwight.
Oh,
Do I even want to know how that happened? I know this game can be pretty picky sometimes about getting these penalties to drivers for speeding. He got the same pen twice? Huh? Okay,
What?
look, I like to be impartial. I like to give unbiased commentary. It's part of my job. But how on God's green earth do you get the same penalty 3 times in one safety car? It is 3 Dwight. I mean, I have... Oh, buddy. And I feel like it's just a game having an absolute aneurysm.
I've seen it all. Oh my days. How? I think he's just deliberately done that, which I think might be penalised. I don't know, but it could be. I think he's deliberately gotten a drive-through penalty 4 times because I don't know how the game would be that harsh to give you 4 drive-through penalties without you. Yeah, it's just that's just take me now. I have seen it all.
Okay, I have seen some wild things while commentating. And apparently that was done on purpose. He was put on, like, when he made his pit stop, it put him on used mediums. So that was basically, he basically just did it just to kind of retire himself at this point. But I mean, I have seen a lot of things. I have seen on 2 separate occasions a car wall ride in a race. Once at Baku, once at Monaco. Actually, SJ probably remembers it a little bit better than I do, but I think it was Div4 Monaco. We had somebody riding the wall. Actually, like at a 90-degree angle, riding the wall. I think it was an Aston and an Alpine involved in that incident back in Div4 last season, Monaco. I remember that. I was there for that. Oh, I forget who I was commentating that with, but I remember it was Mertz against a wall. But I have seen some crazy things in my time as a commentator across platforms. I have seen cars do backflips. I have seen a lot of things. I have never seen 4 penalties for the exact same thing back to back to back to back. And I mean, this has probably been the most chaotic Grand Prix I have ever witnessed here at Rush. I mean, this has just been rough. And I mean, going back to with Risen earlier, I honestly don't think that was an unsafe rejoin. I think that was really just him kind of being in a bad spot, just really, because Albert Park it's not the widest track on the planet. It's not like Bahrain where the track is particularly pretty wide, or if you've ever played Gran Turismo, there's a track called Dragon Trail Seaside. That's also a very wide track. A really good track. I really love that track, but this track in general is particularly pretty narrow. So I think it was just kind of at a bad spot, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, he did do what he did and make that mistake, and obviously, quite frankly, bin it into the wall, but it can be noted as an unsafe rejoin, or it can be noted as just a very, very bad mistake.
Yeah, indeed, and then really just kind of nowhere to go, just straight screwed at that point. And I do want to address an accusation in chat. It was said a while earlier that I have a Google PNG with corner names. Correction, it's a Wikipedia page. So, deal with it, winner. All kidding, all love there, but yeah, it's interesting too. It's a weird one, man. And I thought Suzuka was a bit of a weird one, just because it was like the inters and the mediums just kind of felt like they were really about the same pace at some points, but just tires and all that stuff makes things really interesting. Connor on the soft, so that's going to be a bit of a particularly interesting one, as we do have Sasha 18 laps, man. Whew. I, in spirit, will buy Connor a... What energy drink even is Mercedes sponsored by anymore? It's not Monster anymore. They went to McLaren. Definitely not Red Bull. Celsius switched to Aston Martin, so I don't know if I'll buy you a subscription of Microsoft Office so you can do those George Russell style PowerPoints if Connor can make it to the end on those soft tires. I'm kidding, but safety car is in this lap. It'll be lap 41 out of 58 here on tonight's proceedings, with Uncle Morty leading us to the green. TMT now will be unleashed now that a 10-second pen has been served. We have lost 5 drivers on the night. 14 remain on this endurance round of Rush Racing League. And who is going to take victory here? Who is going to survive to finish first? First you must finish. And we'll see if Uncle Morty can stay in first after the restart. He is going to go to try to generate some heat into those yellow-walled medium tires before he gets going. And he's already decided to punch it. He is going to send it on through, creating a good amount of a gap there to Crowjag behind. And he is going to go ahead and continue to lead the race as we make our way down into turn number 1. And we get through turn 1 relatively safely. There's quite a few cars kind of scrapping for position, but it is clean sailing through the first chicane. And now Dilby trying to get a move done. Connor already getting one on the Shining Swarm, putting on those brand new soft tires, ready to make a difference. And Dilby goes a bit wide, coming through. And that is a rough one. And boy, oh boy. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
It indeed will. I just want to take a look up the front.
Ooh.
Oh no, never mind. Hell, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I think.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, I thought he had one before, but he didn't anyway. 8/10 separating Kojak and Uncle Morty, the leader of the Grand Prix, who was before the first safety car. I think it was, oh no, just the safety car in general, was about 10 seconds, I think, ahead of P2. Cruising, no car in sight. Just a lovely weekend drive, no cars on the road until that safety car just had to ruin his mood and ruin his day and possibly ruin his chances of taking the Div5 Rush Racing Australian 100% Grand Prix.
Trying to say that last part 5 times fast, but yeah, exactly that. He had such a comfortable lead, and when it comes to safety cars, they are a double-edged sword, because on one end of the spectrum, if you're like Uncle Morty, Kojak, Paulin, anybody with penalties for the most part, you're like, well, great. There goes my chance of taking this win. But if you're a TMT who has one of those 10-second pens, then you can serve down the pits and then just kind of tuck right back in. You're like, all right, time to go to reset. And really now it's going to be between Chevy and TMT here, unless these front three can really start kind of pulling away here. As it sits right now, it is going to be Chevy who is going to be in the lead of this one at the end. If he can stay ahead of TMT, he is still on the cusp, but still within 3 seconds of the lead car, about 2.2 seconds to the lead of this one. As now, he's primarily really just got to stay in DRS range of Paulin, and then things are going to work out pretty well for him. As it's going to be this is a tight battle here. It is going to be Soup versus Coop. Ferrari and, now Mercedes getting involved in it as well. Connor trying to get 2 for the price of 1. He does get 2 for the price of 1. Bit of contact from both cars, actually. He gets hit by the Alpine and the Ferrari. They're both trying to tag team him like it's a WWE match, but Connor gets through. No questions asked, and he is up into P7 after a very rough scrap there from Cooper and Soup. They both put up a very good effort, gave it the old college try, but so far just unsuccessful. And they both just lose positions. Connor up into P1. He wishes he was P1, up into P7. P1 out of that little exchange. But Soup is really just kind of falling off there as Cooper really tries to make a move. Is he going to try to send it? He'll think about it. Doesn't quite do it, but Dilby is now pretty much caught up there as well. It is a yellow. I don't know what the yellow is for. Don't see anything particularly off, but yeah, that might just be a bit of a bug, I think. I'm kind of hang on. Maybe Vroms? Because he is missing a pretty sizable chunk of that front wing. But man, oh man, that is... Yeah, it's weird that there's still a yellow. I think that's just bugged at this point. Yeah, you really cannot trust that overlay sometimes. It sometimes bugs out, sometimes doesn't. But, shoo, things can get really tricky here at some points. And here's something pretty crucial. Let's bring this back up. Chevy is still within a chance of winning this one. If Kojak and Uncle Morty continue to scrap it out, Chevy still does win this one. So TMT, though, almost on the cusp of not being within contention of winning this one here. So Chevy, this is probably one of his best chances to wins, or one of his best chances to get a win here tonight, because it's really been mostly Sauber here at this point. Sauber's got 2 wins, Mercedes got 1. It'd be Chevy's first win of the season at this stage if he could pull it off. the top 5 all within a chance here. So really, it's a battle between Woofa, Legend, and Chevy starting on lap 45.
Yeah, it is completely crucial for the three names that you just mentioned to stay within the track limits. That's all they'll probably have through their mind at the moment. If they can keep it clean for the next, I don't know, 13 laps, they have a chance of winning this Grand Prix. And it sometimes it sounds a little too easy to keep it on the track, but you can just lose focus, as we were mentioning a fair bit ago. You can lose your attention. You can just snap out of it. As now Chevy looking to overtake Cornell. I don't think he'll
Oh,
get
they're
it.
both going for it on Crow Jagger
Oh,
ones.
Did he? Yes.
Nicely done.
Was nicely done. So now, I see a bit of front wing going flying off a car. I don't know who it was. Connor, 3-second tyre penalty. Chevy, off the road goes Crowjag. What just happened?
Oh, and ghosting! And into the wall goes Chevy. Oh, and then the spin. There's big drama here. Safety car number 4 of the night. And another chapter gets added to this insane Australian Grand Prix. And what have we just witnessed? Oh, and it gets from bad to worse. That is not a commentator's curse. That is a Twitch chat curse at this point. And look at this, double stacking here. And oh, that's going to screw Dilby up quite a bit here because he had to wait behind his teammate. His teammate had to get a front wing change. Oh, but Dilby's got penalty anyway, so they're swapping out the tires on that Red Bull. And oh, I mean, anytime we think we know what's going on here in this race here, Cruz, everything just gets flipped around, shuffled like a deck of cards.
Indeed it does. TMT has just been
gifted
a Christmas present written in bold with his name on it. All he has to do for the rest of this Grand Prix, I cannot stress it enough, is to just stay within these 2 3-second penalties. That he can let them bad scrap for their position, because after all, whoever finishes ahead, as of right now, between the two of them, takes the higher position with the penalties. TMT, all he has to do is sit behind him and keep a somewhat reasonable pace to be sort of close to the 2 in front, and he will have this race locked.
I just want to point out something here, Cruz. So from P8 to P13, all of them have opted to switch to a soft tire. All of them. From Crowjag down to Vroms, soft tires. Everybody in that gaggle of cars has switched to the red walled soft tires. That is gonna make things spicy. And Chevy's actually not back into the pits. Has he been called to retire? No. Oh no, he's got to replace another front wing? Yeah, I think we could shuffle a deck of Uno cards, particularly the massive Uno No Mercy deck, and still guess what card it is with better accuracy than trying to guess how this race is going to end. I mean, every time we think we know what's going on, it just gets changed. Somebody bends it, somebody bends another person, you hit a person with another person, I mean, we've maxed out the amount of safety cars, so from this point on, it's going to be a VSC if another major incident happens. There's 4 safety cars that can come out before the safety car essentially runs out of gas, and then you got to switch to the VSC, or just, I mean, I have no idea what's going on anymore at this point. Good thing I had a Red Bull with me, because, at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and just say this. I tend to at least try to say it at least once per stream. This is going to be your Ruckus hydration announcement. Go get some water. Go ahead and hydrate yourself. you should hydrate yourself now. You might as well. We got a safety car. We got time. Use the bathroom if you need to. Grab a snack. Grab some popcorn. Throw some in the microwave. Get your popcorn ready because this is going to be pure cinema for the last. It'll be about the last 10 laps when the safety car comes in. So and then actually we have Zephyr now making it into the pits. He's going to go ahead and probably join the soft tire club. And whew, this is going to make things really, really, really spicy. I was just going to say, what have I missed? The answer is yes to that question. You have missed pretty much everything under the sun. The only thing that's really missing is, and this is going to be a commentator's prediction, I mean, it might as well be with how chaotic this race has been, but I'm going to just see a card. I'm sure you've probably seen that very scary clip, but a clip that was referenced a lot of the during Le Mans, and I want to say it was in the 90s, maybe the 80s, of that COK GTR just doing backflips because it just did not have enough downforce down the Mulsanne straight and actually generating lift. I feel like that's going to happen in this race. I mean, it's probably not, but I mean, considering how chaotic this race has been, I wouldn't even doubt at this point. And you know what, Cruz? I've taken 2 safety car restarts. You've taken 1. Now you're going to take this safety car restart. Over to you.
Okay. One thing I want to point out quickly before we restart this 10-lap sprint to the finish. Chevy Wolves, 3 laps ago, was in the position to win the Grand Prix. Now, he's in P13 and he doesn't even look like, well, he might because of the penalties of the cars ahead of him, but he'll barely finish in the top 10 anyway. Enough with the yap. We are crossing the final couple of corners now, or Uncle Morty, and the front couple of cars coming around the final corner. 10 laps to go. Once again, finally, we go green here at Albert Park. Any couple of battles? Oh, Super Dark looks very close to the back of Woofer. I don't know what I was saying here anyway, I apologise for that. Super Dark about a 10th behind Woofer. At this point, it's just all the great information.
Cooper hitting the back and there's more drama!
Ooh.
More drama! Connor is out! That is another retirement, and that's the race is just gonna go on. It must have been the win, apparently. Oh no, Chevy getting into it with Milano. Chevy Milano scrapping it out here, trying to fight for positions, and what has happened here? I mean, this is really putting the endurance in an endurance race here, because, oh my sweet lord, what have we just witnessed in this Grand Prix? I mean, Zombie is saying it the best. I can't repeat that on stream. I don't want to get us demonetized or in trouble with Twitch, but what on earth has happened in this one? I mean, we said that this one was going to be a crazy race, but oh, sweet Lord have mercy, this has just been absolute carnage. And this is a long one too for these guys, because I mean, our 58 laps of just straight racing is already long enough, and I think that's kind of what we had in Div 1. But and I mean, at this point now, it's been an even longer race because of all the safety cars and such. And here's some extra context for our viewers who might just be tuning in. We started the race at about, coming from American Eastern Standard Time, we started this race at 3:30 a.m. It is now 5:11 a.m. at this point. This has just been a long race for these guys.
For people in Australia, in Australian Eastern Daylight Time, that's 7:30 p.m. and it's now 9:11 p.m. So that's about just under 2 hours.
Roughly about an hour, about an hour and a half, roughly. But pretty close to 2 hours, about an hour 45 probably, realistically. But We're not here for math. We're here for action. I'm sure you do enough math at school. I mean, I know I certainly did in college, but TMT now going to go to try to close up to the back of Pollen, and we'll see how this one's going to play out. At this moment, TMT is going to get the win, but Woofa, I think, might try to throw a wrench into the works. If things go his way, Cooper falling down the order. What has happened here? Connor dropping big down. Oh, he's in the pits. Never mind. Whew. I thought surely there's no way this gets even more chaotic from earlier, right? Right? But yeah, I mean, I know it's your second race commentating, but man, what a race you chose to join in on.
Yeah, well, I was going to be commentating Div4 last night, but I got moved to Div5, and I'm not necessarily mad about it after commentating this race. It's another 3-second penalty. They're getting handed out like, oh my.
Handed out like Halloween candy.
Cars, what more? What more can we get? There was
Rain.
a certain point. Yeah. Well, if there was rainy in this race, I tell you what, I don't even want to know about the horror that would have happened if it was raining anyway. We see the Red Bull trying to make a move on Super Duck. He goes round the outside. Will he get it? No. Super Duck keeping the position. Dilby, if he wants to take Super Duck's position, he has to get going like now with that penalty.
Yeah, he's got to turn on the afterburners and just let him fly. He just needs to get everything fired up and ready. Morty does have that front wing damage, so he's got in a bit of a pickle when it comes to that. As the two Red Bulls will swap positions here. And now we're going to see Shining Swarm, though, is having a pretty solid race up in the P8s. And it's going to be Vroms and Milano boxing it out here in the back. Here, trying to get here for the final spots in the top 10. Oh, and it pushed wide! Vroms goes off the track. And I'm sure he is going to be less than thrilled about that one. Krojag, fastest lap of the race. And let's take a look at these positional changes. Paulin right now leads the race on track. He does have pens, though, at the moment. And he is up 6 positions. The driver with the most positions gained is actually a tie between Woofa and Shining. They're both equaled on positions gained with 7 apiece. He's looking to maybe make it more. Oh, I don't like how this looks. The two Red Bulls side by side here coming into turn 14, and they got an Alpine just right behind. Soup is going to go and try to split the Alpines like he's parting the Red Sea, and he does just that. He goes ahead and forms the Red Bull sandwich, which sounds like a horrible culinary choice, but it's definitely good if you're a Soup. I mean, he's going to get past both these guys anyways due to pens. A pen, which is something he doesn't have at this stage of the race. And he is going to go ahead, Shining, looking for a move. And actually, here's the crazy thing, too. As Dilby gets another penalty, Shining is going to move up quite a few positions. So, I mean, he's going to get some extra positions due to all the penalties. I mean, we'll pull up the penalties here again. So, Shining is going to move up quite a bit. I mean, actually, let me try to math it out. Okay, so mathematically speaking, excuse me, Shining is actually going to be not too far off a podium, just with all the pens of drivers ahead, because 4 drivers ahead of him got penalties. He's going to get past, or he's going to try to fend off Milano there, and now he's going to try to chase after Dilby in the Red Bull just up the road. And who's going to be fighting with Soup, and they're going to go battling wheel to wheel now, as these guys are absolutely just trying to give it their all. So, how these 100% races typically go, although I think we can both agree here, Cruz, that this has been anything but typical. You start off fast, and then you kind of mellow out for a little bit, and then it goes right back to being fast and furious here in Australia.
It definitely does, and indeed, this has been absolutely anything but typical. It was at a certain point in this race where I was thinking a red flag was genuinely possible. I don't know, I kind of forgot what the red flag was on in this league. I checked it, but
I think it's on, but I've seen it once. So I don't know if it changed for this season, but I know I've seen it once.
I genuinely was thinking there was a chance that red flag was going to get waved as TMT finds his way into P1, even though he already would have had the position. Yeah, that red flag. If that red flag came out, well, that's another thing that would have twisted and turned this Grand Prix. But with 5 laps to go, let's just hope and pray that something doesn't absolutely explode this race wide open like it already has been about 10 times already.
I wouldn't even be surprised if a meteor hit the track at this point. Honestly, I mean, I just would not be surprised.
Genuinely a possibility.
At this point, yeah, it's. I think the literal storyline of Cloudy with a chance at meatballs has a likelihood of actually just happening during this race, just without absolutely insane this race has been. This is more insane than the actual 2025 Australia race, and that race itself was shenanigans aloft. Honestly, that has just been chaotic, just a chaotic race in general. As we do have 4 laps to go in the Grand Prix, 3.5 at this stage, with TMT leading the pack. He was favorited to win pretty early on, and now with the 2 drivers ahead of, or behind him out of the DRS range and with penalties, this should be a pretty easy one for him to conquer. Even if he gets a pen at this point, Wufa is just too far back to really make anything happen of it. I mean, TMT would have to get another massive penalty to actually really throw this whole race into disarray. And, I mean, Uncle Morty just got another penalty, so I don't think he's going to be making up too many positions in this one. But now it is down to the final 3 laps of the Grand Prix. It is TMT Legend leading the pack, looking to regain the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And he is going to continue to drive along now on those 18-lap-old hard tires. We'll see how the rest of the race goes for him. A bit further back, Soup and Milano are going to go ahead and do some battle here, and Dilby as well getting involved. Soup and Shining are going to be in pretty good spots, actually, to make up some really, really good positions. I'll be curious to see who driver of the day goes to, because I know it would definitely, at least for me, it would be between Wufa and Shining, to be honest. I think those two have done a fantastic job here tonight, trying to go ahead and fight through the field, especially just really surviving, honestly. That's been the name of the game here tonight, is survival. And, okay, I will take that as a commentator's curse. Shining Swarm, 3-second time penalty, so he is not going to be making any additional moves upwards in this Grand Prix, just getting a bit too wide there on corner exit. And that is pretty much that's a commentator's curse if I've ever seen one. Definitely not the first one, definitely won't be the last. But anyway, as we're about to begin the penultimate lap of this Endurance Grand Prix, I'll pass it over to you, Cruz, for lap 57 out of 58.
Okay, there's not really much to pinpoint. They're all pretty much spread out, even though Soup the Duck will gain the positions. Will gain a few positions with that penalty, even though Milano is trying to have a go at Super Duck as he does get that position. But it's too little too late with that 3-second penalty. He'd be praying in that cockpit that Super Duck makes a tiny mistake, probably goes off track limits a bit, possibly getting a 3-second penalty. But if he doesn't, I think that's Milano's P8 if Super Duck just keeps it on the track. It's another 3-second penalty. It's getting 3-second penalties are just headline of this Grand Prix, and also tagging along with safety cars. Just 3-second penalty, 3-second penalty, time penalty, safety car. It's just been non-stop yellow flag. It's like a repetitive, it's like a cycle at this point. Anyway, Milano 2/10, about 3/10, all that I can really report. They're all sponged out, or Shining Swarm on the back of Super Duck, but really, he won't get his position anymore. He can't even go for his position unless, well, he can, but Super Duck will keep it if he keeps it clean for the final lap of the Grand Prix. Wreckers, do you want to take the final lap
Let's go ahead and send it for the final lap. It is time for lap 58 out of 58. I'm sure for some drivers this lap could have not come soon enough. And it's going to go ahead and wrap up here as TMT legend. I mean, he's pretty much done everything he needs to do. He has survived. He survived getting a 10-second penalty, served it, and ultimately with the safety cars, he has really been able to build this one out here. Shining Sword still trying to go ahead and put up a fight here against Soup, as these guys are going to continue on to battle into the midnight stages of the race here. But one driver who has done everything right, he has had a legendary drive here tonight. TMT legend, he's only got a handful of corners left to negotiate here on this Albert Park Street Circuit. He'll be one of 3 drivers to finish the race and not have a penalty associated with his name. One more corner left to go, and it is going to be the long-awaited checkered flag for the Kick Sauber. He is going to retake the lead of the Drivers' Championship. TMT Legend wins the Australian Grand Prix, and the rest of the field will come on through. We'll see how the penalties shake things up. Woofa will finish in P3. A double podium for Aston Martin, the reigning overall champions. And the rest of the field will come across the line. We've started with 19 drivers on the grid here tonight. Ended up with 13. And all 13 of these drivers will get points. And oh, that is unfortunate for the people who aren't subscribed with Twitch Prime, as they gotta add right as the race ended. That is rough. But yeah, a very legendary drive there from the Kick Sauber team, getting a P1 after a very, very chaotic race. So we're going to go ahead and watch the celebrations go on through. We'll take a look at the superlatives and then jump straight into the interviews. We'll be quick with these interviews because I know these guys are absolutely winded, I'm sure. Probably just straight chugging water if they got some nearby. But man, what a Grand Prix this was. Absolutely chaotic from start to finish. Champagne is going to spray around. And now we're going to take a look at our superlatives here. Race winner belongs to TMT legend Krojag. We'll get the fastest lap. Driver of the day is Woofa. Cooper with the most overtakes, and Woofa also with the cleanest drive. So taking a look at the field here as it stands as we wrap up here. It is TMT legend to Paul and Hell to Woofa, Uncle Morty, Chevy, Soup, Milano, Shining, Dilby, Vroms, Zephyr, Krojag, Cooper, and Connor. Followed by Risen, Cobra, Roll Me One Kenobi, Dwight, and Yahuga, with only the top 15 or top 13 finishing the Grand Prix here tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and send this one over to the interviews, and while we go ahead and get our podium setters in, Cruz, let's just talk about that one for a moment, because I don't know if you could have scripted a more chaotic race than that one.
I don't have any words. I really don't. I can't really say much. 4 safety cars, all those time penalties, giving out time penalties I seriously don't have anything to say about this car. It's just chaotic. It was as chaotic as can be tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
boys.
You could say that one again, as we do have Woofa in, and we got 2
Woofa.
of our drivers in. And I promise it is Woofa.
Team Aston Martin are in.
It is Woofa, not Chevy Wolves. I learned my lesson earlier on, but I don't know if you caught that on stream. Cruz was going to go on board with you, but I actually switched to Chevy Wolves because I heard the name wrong. But it's all good, all fun stuff here. But we're going to go ahead and actually let Cruz take away the first interview with Woofa. Over to you.
Woofa, I finished on the podium, but yes, I think you did.
What was that? Yeah, I finished third. Third.
Yes.
All right.
I lost you then.
Yeah, so now we got all of our interviewees. So we'll start with Woofa. So Woofa, you are one of 3 drivers in that race that did not get a penalty, and I mean 4 safety cars. Absolutely chaotic race. Talk to us about the race from your perspective.
Well, I had the one warning, I think after a lap about 4 or 5, and that was because I had to dodge a vehicle that had spun, and I went a little bit off the course and gave me the warning. Other than that, I was nowhere near getting a warning, but that was good. It was teammate and I, Paul and Hal and myself, we just said, let's just play smart. It's a long race. Let's not do anything stupid. No undercuts. Let's just keep cruising around and just keep picking it. And we ended up changing the tyre strut to hard. So I think on the second stint, which we were originally going to go medium, hard, and then we went, I think it's a good time now to go hards. And then I was lucky when I come around the corner in Crowjag and that spun on that second last corner. I'd managed to just get in the pits when the safety car came up and threw the meds on with about 21 laps to go. So, and here I am.
Yeah, I mean it was really just a race of survival. We started with 19 and ended with 13. So it was a very, very chaotic race there. I'll ask you 2 more questions before we let you go. I know it's been a long night for you, so try to get you guys in and out. So we head to a Rush Certified Classic next time around, and it is going to be Singapore next time. So how do you feel?
Yep. Yeah, good. Yeah, fine. Singapore's good for a holiday, good for watching a race, and good for race and Rush on it. Bring it on.
All right, last question before we go ahead and let you go here.
Yep.
Is there anybody you'd like to give a special thanks or shout out to here tonight?
Just my teammate Paul and Hal. We just work well together and just play smart. And of course the TPs and the rest of the Aston Martin boys. We're back, boys. Shit race last week and back again this week. And let's keep going up again where we were at the top after the first week. And let's go Team Aston Martin.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations on your podium, and we'll see you next week in Singapore.
Thanks, boys. Good comms.
All right. From one Aston Martin to the other, it is going to be Paulin up next. So, Paulin, talk to us about the race from your perspective this time around.
Nice. Yeah, you could just go Paul or Paulie. You know. Yeah. That's good. Race I mean, little snafu by me at the very beginning of it. You know, got spun around and possibly, not the best little rejoin, but the car that I almost hit or did hit was a desynced car that was done anyways. But I was about to get disqualified. So I went from almost being disqualified, I'm talking seconds away from being disqualified, to a P2. So personally, pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are. And it's really good points for Aston Martin, too, in the overalls and in the Div5 constructors. I mean, double podium, pretty much exactly what you guys needed after kind of a rough go of things at the start. But I'll also make this pretty quick for you guys. It is going to be Singapore next week. You feeling as confident as your teammate?
Singapore is a survival track. So all you have to do is survive. Try to get no damage. If you could finish Singapore with no new front wings, then you're gonna finish. So just stay out of the walls. Hopefully it's dry, but you never know Singapore. But stay out of the walls and you'll finish well.
All right, last question before I go ahead and let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to here tonight?
All right. Well, shout out, definitely shout out to Wolfa. We finally got our double Aston podium. Shout out to TMT tonight, except for one thing. TMT, how many wins you got? You just couldn't give me one. You couldn't give me one. I'm still on no chaotic wins, and tonight I actually sniffed one, but no. TMT just had to go. I love you, buddy, but. You're a drop down.
Love you too, Paul.
4. No, stay here. Stay here and race with us because I know you're clean and I know we're going to be clean. So, but no, that's it. Yeah, race was good. Final thoughts are fucking go Seahawks and fuck ice. out.
Seahawks!
All right. Well, once again, congratulations on your P2, and we'll see you next week in Singapore.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Cheers.
All right, so we go to our last driver, the only non-Aston Martin that is in this car right now. It is TMT legend getting another win on the books and reclaiming the lead in the Drivers' Championship. How do you feel?
I was not expecting the race to go the way it did.
I don't think any of us were, to be
it
honest.
was weird. No, it was a lot more stop-start than I was expecting, especially with how few safety cars we've had in the first few rounds. But I got very bailed out by the third safety car, I think it was. I picked up a 10-second for speeding in the pits because I went in at 81 because someone had gone in earlier and taken out the bollard to indicate where the line was. And so I thought it was just further back than what it was. And I mistimed the braking by next to nothing and picked up the penalty. And I literally said on the radio, I said, I need a safety car within the next 5 laps. I'll whack on a new set of hard tyres because these ones have felt amazing. And I'll drive it to the end and I'll have a chance. And I think 2 laps later, the safety car came out, and needless to say, I'm now standing here as the race winner. So speak it into existence, I suppose, is the lesson learned there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with how the race was going, I mean, we were even joking in the commentary booth that the events from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs could have happened in this race, and it would have not surprised us in the slightest, just because of, I mean, definitely watch the race back, because there is so much stuff happening, and I mean, I know you can't really see everything while you're driving. I mean, if you're watching the stream while driving, first off, that's...
I don't know, I saw a fair bit on track tonight. There was a lot of action in front of me.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hectic one, to say the least. Probably, I don't honestly, probably even dare to say that was probably more hectic than all the races that we've already had at Australia combined into this one, but... Yeah, so we're going to take a look at the calendar for next week.
Was the rain from Div4.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the calendar, and it's going to be from Australia to Singapore next up. How confident are you? Because, I mean, Singapore is a tricky one. Paul said it earlier that it is a survival track. How do you feel?
For those who know me as a driver, there are 2 kinds of tracks that apparently I seem to do well at. One's where the wing is basically non-existent on the car, and street circuits. So this calendar from head to toe is nearly perfectly suited me, which I think is a big reason for the run of form I've had. I think going into this season, I only had like 2 tracks, a handful of tracks I'd ever gotten multiple podiums at, or at least 1 podium at. And I think 2/3 of the tracks that are on the calendar are those. And the only track on the calendar I genuinely suck at, I'm going to be in Melbourne for the actual Grand Prix, so I won't be here for the China race anyway. So the one race that I would have actually genuinely done bad at, I'm not going to be there anyway. And it just means that I'll have 2 weeks to practice for Jeddah instead, which is a track that I've notoriously had very good results at. So yeah, Singapore next week. I'm very excited. I'm yet to actually ever finish with a genuinely good result, but I've never really had bad races there, excluding the year that I absolutely cleaved my own tire off on one of the walls. So I don't know. Hopefully I can improve on the results that I've previously gotten there and keep up this run of form.
All right, well, one last question before we go ahead and let you go here. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or shout out to here tonight?
Sorry, you dropped out for half a second there. What was that?
Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to here tonight?
I mean, I think I tagged about half the Div5 grid in the Div5 chat. So Morty, Paulie, Woofer, D White, Soup, Crow, Chevy. I think that was everyone that I spent about 90% of the race battling. It was awesome. There were a few close calls, to say the least. I think I had a couple of run-ins with the outside wall at the graveyard, trying to get a little bit aggressive on an overtake, and then realised that I probably should just back out and wait. I think I happened with Paul with about 5 laps to go, and I didn't even need to overtake him. So, no, it was great racing. across the grid. I'm going to give a shout out to my brother in the next division up, Minme, for giving me a setup and telling me how to actually do a lap around this track, because I mean that helped in qualifying. And evidently the setup felt pretty good on track. And my girlfriend, who is my radio engineer, for keeping me up to date with the race.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on your win, and we'll see you in Singapore next week.
Thank you. See you next week.
All right, everybody, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here for Division 5. A very chaotic race that had a little bit of everything involved except for weather. But yeah, it's been a tough one. I'm sure our drivers are exhausted. To all the drivers who are in this VC and also all the drivers who may be watching the stream now, go ahead, drink some water, get some food, get some rest. You guys have more than earned it here. But Cruz did dip. He is not here with us at the moment. So on behalf of him, my name has been Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus, and we have been your hosts and commentators for you guys here tonight. And I want to give a massive thank you to our sponsors, Sim Racing Center, SimLab, Pagani Advanced Simulation, and AI369. We couldn't do this without those fantastic partners, but more importantly, we couldn't do this without you guys in the Twitch chat being as awesome as always. And tune in for the rest of the action throughout the week, and then next week is Singapore, what I like to refer to as the Rush El Clasico, because it is always a good time around that track. But anyways, on behalf of everybody here, have a good night, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time. Good night.